Hello guys, welcome to our channel. We post amazing revenge stories daily. Today's first story posted by you/Von_Scranhammer. Military revenge story. This was back in 2013, when I was based in Holland, British Marine for context. I had been married to my wife for a little over 18 months when I deployed to Afghanistan. My wife had a job in the British delegation on base and got to know pretty much every Brit and their husband/wife. One day we were directly targeted by a vehicle-borne IED. Now, whilst it wasn't uncommon for there to be a threat to coalition forces in general, being directly targeted felt more personal for obvious reasons. That was also the day I found out about an RAF guy back in Holland had tried it on with my wife. I found him on Facebook and, still feeling rather raw about Terry trying to blow me up, messaged him words to the effect of, "If you go near Mrs. Von_Scranhammer again, I will put glass in your throat the next time I see you." The next day, one of my bosses, who was also RAF, messaged me on Facebook to say that this guy has been over to his office and basically tattled on me. He gave me a friendly warning/heads up that this guy could have gone to the MPs and reported me. I have no idea what would have happened, but Elle acknowledged the warning and said it won't happen again. My boss had my back and actually told him to wind his neck. Fast forward to when Elle got back from Afghan. A few days had passed and I was starting to settle into a normal life again. My wife brought it up, after explaining she didn't mention it at the time due to my reaction the first time, that an Army Sergeant Major had tried to message her via Facebook. He told her she was beautiful and wanted her number. She promptly blocked him. I was pissed off to say the least, but I understand why she kept it until I was back on home soil. The next day I went into our department and spoke to my other boss, an Army captain. I told him what had happened and he said, "Leave it with me." He basically had a chat with him and nothing came of it. I felt deflated and even more pissed off. That was until our senior military officer came into our department. He welcomed me back and asked how my tour was. Still pissed off, Elle said, "It was good, sir." With the exception of Sergeant Major Douchebag trying to get round my wife, he was, understandably, a little taken aback. About an hour or so later he emailed me saying that he feels the need to do something official about this. Something I had forgotten was that the Colonel and Sergeant Major belonged to the same regiment, so having one of his own behave like this had clearly gripped him. I told him the full story and provided screenshots of what Sergeant Major Douchebag had said to Mrs. Von_Scranhammer. For this to go official, my wife had to provide a statement. Unfortunately, Mrs. Von_Scranhammer is very non-confrontational and said she didn't want this to continue. I respected her wishes of not wanting to provide a statement, but hatched a plan that would be 3 years in the making. The timing is important. I emailed the Colonel and said that Mrs. Von_Scranhammer has declined. However, I felt the need for some formal recognition, so Elle asked that Sergeant Major Douchebag write a letter of apology, addressed to both my wife and Elle, which is to be signed and dated. This was granted and I received said letter 2 days later. It said, "Lance Corporal and Mrs. Von_Scranhammer. I am writing this letter to you both to apologize for the torment and anxiety that you both must have felt from the messages that you received from my Facebook account. To Mrs. Von_Scranhammer. Nobody should ever be in a situation where they worry about going to work because of who may come through the door, especially so when they have the added stress of a partner being operationally deployed at the time. The anguish that you must have felt at this time is immeasurable, and for this, I apologize. To Lance Corporal Von_Scranhammer. Being operationally deployed is stressful enough without the added stress and worry about family back home. Support from home and loved ones is what carries many people through tough times whilst on tour. For any undue angst caused, I apologize. I regret any hurt and anguish caused by this issue and apologize wholeheartedly and unreservedly to you both. Signed, SGT Maj Douchebag, position held. I now waited. I saw the rest of my time in Holland, moved back to the UK to my new base, and waited some more. Almost 3 years after I received the apology letter, I looked up Sergeant Major Douchebag's wife on Facebook. I had known the whole time we were out there that he was married, his wife lived back in the UK, and he has routinely tried to cheat on her. I sent her the same screenshot which I had sent to the Colonel. I also, before leaving Holland, printed off the emails between the Colonel and myself where I requested the apology letter. I blanked out the Colonel's details and sent the pictures of that. And then, lastly, I sent a picture of the apology letter, signed and dated by her husband admitting what he had done. Once Elle saw she had read it, Elle blocked her, blocked Sergeant Major Douchebag, and all his friends who had also been out in Holland at the same time. Why 3 years? I remember him saying, before he turned into a douchebag and tried it on with my wife, that he only had 3 years left to serve. If my timing was correct, he was months away for completing his 22 years and receiving a very nice pension. If his wife decided to go ahead with divorce, she would take half of said pension, which would essentially duck him over for the rest of his life. Here are some comments. First commenter. Aw man, if only you unblocked her now so we could find out what happened. But I guess that would be selfish of us. Good story anyway. Well done, and I like the way you write. Second commenter. Revenge is a dish best served cold. I admire your patience. Third commenter. Definitely pro-revenge, holy long game. Reminds me of this. You see, it's the slow knife, the knife that takes its time, the knife that waits years without forgetting, then slips quietly between bones. That's the knife that cuts the deepest. Fourth commenter. Perfect revenge. I'm sure that Douche Canoe had completely forgotten about all of it. Also, from a US Marine, you guys were bonkers in Afghanistan. Ran into a few of your guys out running their ops with next to nothing, and I would see one of your bases way down south in Helmand, probably 20 to 30 kilometers away, take tracer rounds and small arms fire every night it seemed. Fifth commenter. If your wife went ahead with the formal complaint, wouldn't that result in a court-martial? I know the military has some severe penalties for infidelity, especially since it was one member going after another member's spouse. Sixth commenter. I don't want to be nice because you're clearly a giant savage. Luckily, that's what this sub is for. 12.5 out of 10 revenge, very excellent. Now getting ahead to our second story posted by you/punkrockvixen. I escort stole my dogs and the cops won't help. So I hunted her down myself. So it all started on Sunday, May 26th. I was flying back home from Texas where I was at my girlfriend's sister's wedding. We had a layover in Vegas before our 1-hour flight back to Sacramento. I land in Vegas, and I get reception. That's when my roommates call me and tell me how the door to our backyard gate was busted open and my beautiful husky wolf mix was missing. That dog is everything to me. She is 3 years old now, and I've had her since she was 2 months old. She's been with me through all my breakup, my layoffs, and my evictions. She was my only friend when all my other friends believed the rumors my ex said about me. Anyways, she is gone and I get home to start doing the usual, putting up flyers offering a reward and notifying every shelter, vet, and her chip company of her disappearance. I put notices on every lost and found page, and suddenly it starts to go viral on Facebook. A lot of people really wanted to help me find my dog, and I had eyes everywhere. I wake up one day to a Craigslist ad with a picture of an unknown girl hugging my dog, with the ad titled "Found Husky," sent to me by a friend of mine, so I contact the ad maker. The lady was nice and explained how she didn't find my dog, but a friend of hers on IG found her. She watched her post pictures on IG and brag about how the universe brought me this beautiful, which she sent me screenshots of her Instagram and all the pictures she posted of my dog. She then tells me I don't know her personally, but she is a fellow escort. It turns out the girl who has my dog is an escort. So she messaged the girl to tell her that she found the owner of the dog, and she full deletes all posts about my dog and blocks the ad maker. So I think, alright, this is already viral, game on. Which I get all the people who have been searching, including my detective, and we make a hunt. I file a police report, and they are down to bust the chick, but I have to find where she is and holding my dog for them to do anything, which is pretty useless, I get people to start contacting one another. We found her legal name, all the addresses she is tied with, including her boyfriend, mom, stepdad, possibly dad, and stepmom's info. We even found 2 warrants for her arrest. She was charged with petty theft, hit and run involving property damage, lying to a peace officer, and possession of contraband. After I found that info, including her being an escort, which is illegal where I'm from, we had her. I dug up all her info, including emails and phone numbers with her escort phone number. So I call this woman to confront her, and she starts yelling at me about how I'm harassing and threatening her. This is the first time I've ever talked to the woman, and how she was going to press charges on me. She then said she brought my dog to a shelter. She also told me which shelter, 2 days prior. I confirmed that wasn't true. Meanwhile, I'm gathering all the proof I have that this dog is mine, which is 3 years of time-stamped photos with me and the dog, and the chip information that my dog is registered with, and her being in my name with the chip company. She is told this and still refuses to give her back by saying I'm afraid to give the dog back because the owner is threatening me, which I never did, and have proof of that. So now she is on blast on Facebook, Instagram, and Reddit as well. I'll provide with more edits later. Update: so I'm not sure what more I can really do. The court fees to even try and get this, which is gonna break my bank, and I already spent over $1,000 trying to find my dog. Then even trying to find and serve her with the court may not work, because the cops will only try 3 times before they say, "Welp, you're on your own," and then I would have to hire a private investigator. I'm not sure what to do besides blast her so goddamn hard this ends up on every news station and radio station in the Sacramento region. Ooh boo boo, so check this shit out. The girl that stole my dog was with another girl when they found my dog. And boy does the plot thicken. They are both escorts, so the girl that stole my dog, let's call her Blonde Thief, and the girl she was with, we will call her Red-Haired Thief. Blonde Thief left for San Francisco to work. She came back home early to find Red-Haired Thief was sleeping with Blonde-Haired Thief's boyfriend. And it gets better, mate. Red-Haired Thief beat Blonde-Haired Thief's bum, which involved the cops and a public police report. Boyfriend was taken to jail for domestic violence, and so did Red-Haired Thief. Now that is public record, I looked up the incident. Sadly, there was no house address when I looked it up. I'll keep you. The red-haired thief contacted me and told me the blonde-haired thief took my dog to her dad's house. So I went detective and looked up who her dad is. I got his legal name, Facebook, and phone number. I get a car with a beefy friend of mine and drive 1 hour to Valley Springs to where her dad lives. We pull up to the property, and there is my dog running up to the fence to greet me. I open the gate and she tackles me. I put her in the car and call the cops. They arrive and do their damnedest to get him to answer the door, but the police chalk it up to him not being home. They take my statement, and I explain everything down to each fine detail, including the escort in question having a record. They said they will be catching him, and I will be pressing charges for animal endangerment and grand theft. She will also be adding a 3rd warrant on her record. So glad it's over. And my dog is so happy to see me again every day. The next day I get a message from my friend. Turns out the thief sent her a message on Instagram about contacting the police over me harassing her. My friend then commented, "You do realize the owner came to your dad's house and took her dog back while the police watched it happen? She told the police she is pressing charges on you, and they are coming for you. Enjoy jail," and the thief flipped. She started threatening my friend and saying she's gonna fight her before calling her a faggot. Like, in all seriousness, hasn't she had her bum beat up enough this week? TLDR, don't fuck with my dog. Got there. Here are some comments. First commenter: I'm so happy you got your dog back. Fuck people who think pulling this kinda shit is perfectly fine. They aren't just stealing an animal, they are stealing a person's family. Second commenter: I really thought this would be a story about a dude who rents an escort, she drugs him, and steals his dog. Your story is way better and trashier. Take my upvote. Third commenter: That was a roller coaster, Red. I was worried there for a second that you didn't get your pupper back, but I'm glad he's with you now. Dog thieves are awful. Fourth commenter. So glad you got your doggy. By the sound of it, this witch will have a grand old time washing her cellmate's sheets. Getting ahead to our final story posted by you/underwhelming twin. Scam me for $80 for cleaning on move out? I don't think so, Jack. Background. About 10 years ago my landlord died. Or at least the person who owned the place we were renting. The property managers had been delightful, but whoever inherited wanted to sell, so the house was for sale. Enter a jackass, we'll call him Jack, who decides to buy the place. Now ours was the top floor, that is, attic converted into a suite, of a house, less than 35 SQ meters, 375 SQ feet. The bathroom was literally where the stairs up to the top floor used to be. The place was tiny. Jack came to check out the place, as you should before buying a place. He had one of those Bluetooth earpieces in, and I can't even remember if he even acknowledged us. He spent about 30 to 45 seconds in our suite. Next time we hear from him is about a month later. Apparently he'd bought the place. He stops by to give us a notice of rent increase, effective in 6 months, legal minimum. From $485 to $795. The place is not worth that much. We say nuts to that and decide to buy a house, since WTH it's not much more per month. Surprise to anyone who's never bought a house, it was more than just mortgage payments. We give him all the required notice to move out. We move and clean the place up really well. Mind you, when my partner moved in it was not especially clean, and we happen to have the move-in inspection which mentions this. Jack decides to try to scam us for $80 of our damaged deposit for cleaning. He doesn't provide the required forms, just says, "I'm going to hold $80 from your damaged deposit for cleaning." We respond with, no. You're not. Jack, assuming we need the cash for our next damage deposit, or bills, and will settle for anything, take this, or I'm going to keep your whole deposit. Cue revenge. So he decides to just keep the whole deposit, $485. I file paperwork with the rentals man, who unsurprisingly, after their investigation, rule in my favor. He's ordered to refund the whole deposit. But Jack decides not to pay. And the rentals man doesn't have any enforcement powers. So I have to go to the local sheriff's office. They can send a legal demand letter for the deposit plus costs. But it will cost me $100 to $150, I forget, upfront. Sure, go ahead. Jack decides to ignore the sheriff's kindly letter. Sheriffs say that they can start proceedings to recover the debt plus costs, but I again have to pay upfront, about $250, and it might take quite a while. I guess most people quit at this point. Being out of pocket $700, throwing more money at the problem, and maybe having to wait months didn't appeal to them. And there's also a chance you never collect. I chose to pay the sheriffs. They sent another, less friendly letter to Jack. But here's the best part, now that they're recovering a debt, they're going to recover on all of the outstanding judgments against him. And apparently he has tried this shit before. They sent him another couple letters, pay up or else. Jack chose else. Then they seized title to Jack's giant white SUV. I can't remember what it was, but not a cheap one. They didn't physically take it away or anything, but they gave him 30 days to pay all the judgments against him, or they would take it and sell it at auction. Somehow he all of a sudden found the money. My share, $485 plus $150 plus $250 equals $885. The other people who'd registered judgments, but not paid to start the collections processes, were about $5,000 more. I can't remember how long the whole process took, at least 6 months though. TLDR. Landlord tries to scam us for $80 for cleaning when we move out. Ends up costing him almost $6,000. Here are some comments. First commenter. This makes me sick and I'm glad you won in the end. He had been doing it to other, knowing most of the wouldn't be able to pay the additional money to the sheriff's station, and just give up. You got revenge not just for yourself, but everyone else this asshat screwed over. Thank you, hero. Second commenter. Love this. Most legal precedents are set by people with the resources and stamina for the lengthy and expensive legal proceedings. You hopefully helped a lot of other innocent victims, and potential ones, feel safer. Third commenter. Kudos for not letting this asshat get one over on you. Award yourself a large glass of your favorite tipple. This is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below. If you don't want to miss such more videos, please don't forget to subscribe us.